the area's successes. We are focusing on our individual successes. And while it's true that there are some things that Toastmasters International absolutely requires, for those we need to focus on a few numbers. And beyond that, we want to focus on our individual successes. Next slide, please. And our first huge success this year was the reporting of club visits by our area directors and our division directors. We hit just one club short of 100% this year. And the club that wasn't reported on was a suspended club who's not going to be visited until this month because they just weren't available. I just think that's fabulous. And I'd like to congratulate all of the division directors and the area directors. I know that in one case, Sue took on the responsibility of visiting clubs for an area director that wasn't able to do their visits because they weren't able to be an area director this year after all. So welcome. Congratulations to all of our area directors. But you know what? I want to tell you that I absolutely know for sure that there were a few folks out there who were having heartburn in the last week before all of those were due. Why did we care that all of those reports be submitted? We cared because they impact the clubs, and the clubs are the members. So we wanted all of our clubs to be part of our, our community, part of our community. Next slide, please. And to try to alleviate that stress that I know that I was under, Linda was under, Jeff was under, division directors and area directors who hadn't submitted their reports yet, because for sure I was bombarding you with emails about completing those. And I don't want to have to do that. And I don't want you to have to receive them. So, what's the solution? Well, let me just tell you that right now, you can be doing your club visits right now. Starts December 1st. The portal for reporting and submitting your reports for your club visit opens on December the 15th. So even though the period for visiting has started, the portal opens December 15th. Next slide, please. And we've got some incentives for some early reports. If you submit a report by February 28th, there is a $25 TI Store gift certificate waiting for you. As a matter of fact, I have those gift certificates. I should hold them up, huh? There it is, right there. I could run out the room and grab one, but there it is, the gift certificate, $25. Next slide, please. And if you submit by April the 30th, $15 gift certificate for you as an individual area director. After that, you'll just be bombarded with emails and you will be nagged and nagged and nagged and nagged until you get those reports in so that all of our clubs and the members of those clubs know that they're part of our community. So you either have the opportunity, the choice of earning some money or being nagged. What sounds like more fun to you? You know? Next slide, please. I have a little bit of this and that. Our administrative manager, Dennis Dawson, has decided to pursue some other opportunities within Toastmasters, which I think I'm not allowed to announce because rules, you know how TI is. But in any event, because of that, he is no longer able to serve as our administrative manager. I am looking for someone who can help us with that because at the beginning of this meeting, we found ourselves scrambling to put into place the bits and pieces that he does for us. And one of those is recording the meeting and also doing an AI transcript. So all of you and those who weren't able to attend today can go to our website and pull those up so that they can get an overview of what we did during this meeting. So anyone who's interested, please shoot me an email and let me know. Contact any of the trio if you're more comfortable talking to Linda or Jeff rather than me, but we are needing to fill this position. One of the major reasons we have to fill this position at some point is because at our business meeting at the end of the year, we have to have minutes. And Dennis has offered to give full training on how to do that using AI, so it isn't a situation where you're sitting on the meeting trying to write down everything that happened or having to go back through the recording and listen to it all over again, trying to write down everything that happened. We're using an AI boost. We have that going for this meeting to see how that works for those of us that don't quite know what we're doing. But in any case, I desperately need an administrative manager. I hope someone will step up because, I'm very old school and I still know how to use a phone to talk on, not just to text on. So I will be making some phone calls in a bit if someone, doesn't feel like that's something they can do, but it's a lot easier than it ever was in the past. The next thing on my list of a little more this than that is our facilities manager. I would like to thank Gemma for stepping up and offering to help out with our in-person part of our hybrid meetings when we have those. And she's going to be helping with bringing in some coffee and snacks and setting up our tables and that. So thank you, Gemma. I appreciate that. Um, I was doing that before, and it's like one more thing that now someone is helping me with. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I have an announcement for the January DECM. I am thinking, well, you all may or may not know this. The weekend of the January DECM is the same weekend that the trio, all three of us, will be attending the mid-year training that Toastmasters International puts on. For that reason, guess where we won't be? We will not be at the DECA meeting. We will be recording messages because there is some critical information that we will be having for everyone who attends and everybody who listens later. We will also be putting together a full program for that meeting, but I'm suggesting that we have that meeting as a Zoom-only meeting because I just think that well, for me personally, I think it's kind of tough to try to bring people in to run all the equipment and everything when um, basically Jeff won't be there to help with that. So unless somebody has some objections, I'm just going to declare the January DECA meeting as virtual only. And we'll go with that.
You might want to let Lafayette know we're not showing up then.
Say it again.
You might want to let Lafayette know that we're not showing up then.
Oh yeah, you betcha. I have that on my list. I just wanted to get permission from this group that it's okay to go ahead and do that. Okay, I see a head nodding, so I don't have everybody up on my screen, but since I don't hear anyone screaming in dismay, um, we'll do that. Okay, thanks. All right. I would now, next slide, please, like to introduce our program quality director, Linda Patten, DTM, many times over. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Sally. I was actually going to run off and get a cough drop, but I will run through my slides instead. So, theme this year was the same as last year, which is to revitalize, rebuild, and reinvent. We're in that process. We're doing some great things. As Sally reported, I'm really, really pleased with what we're seeing. Next slide. So, training for the next 2 months. January, we have on the 16th of January, we're doing the third training in our 4 training series on contests. This one has to do with how to have your judges and an in-person contest, because that is critical. We haven't done it in such a long time that I'm sure many of us are rusty as to what to do with a paper form. Um, on January 25th, from 9:30 to 12:30 in the morning, that is a Saturday, we are doing club officer training. And division directors, if you could tell me which divisions this is, I'd appreciate it.
Linda, that one is C and D.
Thank you. Because I want to put it up on the calendar so people know. February, again, we have 2 trainings. One is the 4th training in our 4-part series on contests. In this case, in-person logistics, food, agenda, scripts, certificates, medals, and all that jazz is coming up for us. You don't want to miss that. Like I said, we're rusty. And we're not just rusty, we're rusted when it comes to doing in-person contests. So this is a good thing for you to attend. Hans and Ananda and Michelle have done a marvelous job in putting this series together. And then on the 24th of February, we have another club officer makeup training. This one is in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30. And again, division director, who is this?
A and B.
A and B. Do we have a makeup training for E and F?
I believe that's on January 30th.
I have that on my calendar that way too, yes.
E and F? Okay. So those are our 3 club officer trainings, and we will have them all done before the deadline. Thank you so very much, division directors. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to being there. Next slide, please. So now is the time, as Sally said, and I'm going to reiterate, to begin your area visits. Also, what does that mean? Look for your replacement for both division and area directors. I would love it if you could say to me, here's my replacement, and to actually be doing some shadowing for the second half of the year, so that when they step in July, they have a clue as to what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what's worked, what you would have done differently, and so on. So this is recruiting season. It's also a time to look at what would enhance the club experience. Do your clubs need open houses? We've got speakers for that. Might they do speakathons? I know my club, Heart to Heart's doing a speakathon in January to get people ready for contest in February. Plan your contest season. Your clubs should be planning now if they haven't already put it on their books. Area, it's again, you're looking at an in-person contest. Do you have a location? Do you have all the functionaries? What do you have? February is going to come up very, very quickly. And then there's division. Don't forget, you have the same responsibility to pull that together. You might even consider doing joint contests. You have a couple of areas to do their contests together. Whatever it takes to make this happen for you. And please do register for club officer training. January, February, and March. Encourage your club officers. We did really, really, really well. We had 91 people at the first TLI. That's not everybody. We still have a whole lot of people who need to be trained. Make sure that they're on the calendar, or if they're not going to our trainings, that they're going to some other district to be trained. And make sure that they know to get that information back to me, because it doesn't always come from the PQDs in other division or in other districts. So please, 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 we would love them all to hit 7 of 7, or at least get 5 of 7. It's really important for all of you to be trained at this point in time. And I think that's the end of my slides. Yeah, Gemma, it's all yours.
No, it's not all Gemma's, because I'm going to introduce her. I would like to say that Gemma is here today. She is our District Pathways Chair. I am thrilled to have her available to present at our DEC this morning, because guess what? We have a new pathways system And we're all going to just jump right in and get to know how to use it. Gemma's going to be sharing today from the perspective of the folks here in the room who have to go in and start approving levels for their members. So without further ado, Gemma, take it away.
Thank you, Sally, and good morning, everyone. You're all obviously well aware that we've had quite a major upgrade to our Toastmasters learning experience. I hope that you've had a chance to attend or possibly watch the recorded version of November's Explore the New Basecamp webinar, and perhaps an opportunity to read through the Basecamp user guide and the Basecamp manager guide. I have links to all of these at the end of the slide deck. My focus today, as Sally alluded to, is specifically on the new Basecamp manager, how to get there, level and path completion processes, and the dashboard tabs. Some of you may be very familiar with this information and others less so. I've left about 10 minutes at the end for questions, suggestions, general discussion. If I don't have answers, I'll circle back to you. Or if you have questions that pop up afterwards, please email me at pathways@d57tm.org. It may be that you'll have to reach out to Toastmasters International directly on some of these things, but the more I know about the types of questions and the issues that are coming up, the more helpful that I can be to you and others. Next slide, please. Let's get ourselves into Basecamp Manager. Next slide, please. When you log into the Toastmasters.org homepage, your next step is to click Go to Basecamp. Very straightforward. And that will land you on your personal Basecamp learning dashboard, which will look something like this. If you are an officer, you will see a link in the upper right corner to Basecamp Manager. Notice the red arrow very directly pointing to that link on the right. When you click it, it will take you to the Basecamp Manager dashboard. Next slide, please. On the dashboard, you will see 4 tabs: Approvals, Member Overview, Paths in Progress, and Recent Activity. Each tab provides a different perspective on club activity and member progress. Your landing tab is always Approvals, and that's a good thing. It helps you keep your finger on the pulse. You will know right away as an officer whether an action is required of you, notably a review of a completion request. Next slide, please. Okay, before we jump into the Approvals tab and completion requests, let's talk about the expanded authority that all officers have now as it relates to Basecamp Manager. Certainly, this new authority provides some flexibility, especially if the VPE and other backups are unavailable. And it allows other officers to keep up and be more engaged in these club activities, which I think is a good thing. However, it does require some management. All club officers now have the ability to approve and deny a completion request. As we know, review of education-related requests has typically been the responsibility of the VPE, with a backup from the president and the club secretary. A couple of things to think about. Number one, while all club officers have the ability to interact with the new Basecamp Manager dashboard, the VPE, club president, and club secretary receive copies of all completion request emails. They should be aware of activities within Basecamp. Number two, as a club, you will want to establish policies for who will approve and deny completion requests. particularly if the VPE and other backups are not available, so that everyone knows the role in that process, or their role, I should say. And then number 3, the name of the officer who approves and denies a request will always be listed under that approvals tab. So if something goes really awry, you know who to talk to. Next slide, please. So we've clicked review. Actually, Mercy, can you go back? I think I forgot a little bit here. Did I forget everything? Just want to make sure I covered everything. Okay. All right. So here on the completion request, you can see that there are a couple of approvals that are listed, and one at the top, if you can see it, is review. So now we'll go on to the next slide. So we've clicked review, and a box opens up on the screen that lists all the required projects for the level or path. The completed projects will show a green check mark. Once you've determined that the member has satisfied all of the requirements, select Approve. You'll be given the opportunity to add comments to the member requesting the completion, and then you hit Confirm and finalize the approval. Next slide, please. It may be that you need to deny a request. If that's the case, you click Deny on the review screen, and a fairly comprehensive page appears, guiding you through the process of denial. You are given several reasons to choose from: missing speech, incomplete assignment, additional details requested, and an in-depth explanation is provided in each case. You must select a reason from the drop-down menu and add clarifying comments, and then you can click Deny. Once the member has satisfied these outstanding requirements, they can go back into the path and submit the level or path for completion again. Next slide, please. Okay, let's move on to the other dashboard tabs. You can review the progress of all members in the club by selecting Member Overview. This overview shows you all of your club members, their current credential and highest achievement, all completed paths, and the date of the last recorded speech in their speech log. Note, if a member is not using their speech logs in their projects, you're not going to be able to see any speech dates there, even if they recently gave a speech. So that final column on the right may be blank or a little spotty. All columns in the report are filterable. And remember, for any of your club members that belong to other Toastmasters clubs, speeches and completions from all clubs to which they belong will be reflected here. Next slide, please. Okay. Let's move on to other dashboard tabs. You can view the detailed progress of each member of your club by selecting the Paths in Progress tab. A green check mark indicates that the member has submitted their level for completion and it's been approved. I found this report to be very helpful, although it takes a long time to load, which can be a little frustrating. There is a search button where you can enter a specific member's name. I like that option, and it may get you there more quickly than waiting for the full report to actually populate. Each path a member is enrolled in is displayed on its own line, which is why it's such a long report. The benefit is that Basecamp managers can quickly see how many projects a member has completed per path. as well as the path the member is currently working on, and really dive into that detail. One thing that can happen is that members can complete all required projects in the level and forget to submit their completion request. I had a personal experience with this, so I know. In this case, the required number of projects will show as completed, for example, 3 out of 3, but no green check mark will display. If you notice this while you're reviewing this report, you may want to reach out to your member and let them know. Excuse me. And again, if any of your club members are also belonging to other Toastmasters clubs, keep in mind that speeches and completions from all clubs to which they belong will also be reflected in this report. As this report is paths in progress, if a club officer approves a member's path completion, the path and member name will move from this report to the member overview section under completed paths. Next slide, please. The final tab is recent activity, which displays all member activity for the last 60 days. That includes pending completion requests and when members enroll in or start their paths. This tab also includes the approved and denied status of completions. The report is great for tracking completion requests, as the level, path, and the name of the Basecamp manager who has approved or denied the request is also displayed here. So these are the 4 tabs or reports in the Basecamp manager dashboard. I do wish that some of these reports could be downloaded into a spreadsheet form, but this is not available at this time. These are the resources that I mentioned at the beginning. Explore the News Basecamp webinar recording and the 2 user guides, as well as my email. I do find the new pathways to be more user-friendly, but it's also a work in progress. I've identified a few glitches here and there as it relates to our club specifically, and I have inquiries submitted on those cases. I would suggest that your members, double check their Basecamp progress documentation leading up to the October 9th blackout. Hopefully that information was downloaded or copied and saved somewhere. I would recommend that they take some time, compare their educational program progress prior with that they are seeing in the new Basecamp, just to make sure that there aren't any discrepancies. Also check your reports, those 4 tabs. Check the information. Make sure that the information that you are seeing is accurate. And I'll give you an example. Our club has had at least 1 recent activity, and the report is still saying there is no activity. So if you notice anything else that seems strange, feel free to get in touch. Questions? Oh, I like that, Sally.
If you could raise your virtual hand, then you'll come up to the top of our boxes and we'll be able to see that you have a question.
Can you
Wow.
talk a little bit, sorry, I should rather, can you talk a little bit about the differences between having one of the legacy pathways and the regular ones in there? Because I've noticed when I'm playing with mine, legacy pathways don't work the same way.
So say that again, Jeff.
So
What-
if you had a legacy pathway, like one of the ones that disappeared during the cutover, can you talk a little bit about how those work versus the ones that have remained?
How they work from what perspective, I guess.
In the sense that in the legacy one, they kind of just ported the old pathways in there, but in the new one, you have the forms you fill out for the pathways.
So he's talking about the paths that were discontinued, but people
Yes.
are still working on.
Right. So are you talking about just working through them as a user? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, and like things that people who have a legacy path are still trying to finish should watch out for.
Right, right. So my experience so far has been that when you are working through the slides, you know, working through the online learning system, I guess, with the legacy program, it is not quite as functional, I guess, not as sleek and efficient as the new paths, but still very workable. I've found that the experience is quite similar. It's just that the way that the path appears online is more in line with the way it looked in the legacy program, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. I did notice that.
Okay.
And the other question I have is, what do you do if, when you fill in the form on a pathway for the normal ones, if you did a speech outside your club because you can only select an evaluator from inside your club?
Right. And there is no answer for that. I did actually call and reach out to Toastmasters International, but they confirmed what I thought the answer was, which is you just need to use the PDF and mail it out.
All right.
Okay, so let me add, I have a question then with regards to that.
Thank you.
In the past, when I went into my club's website where we fill in what we're doing, and it has the spot where the evaluation, you can click on the evaluation, it will pop up for you. Does that still happen?
Are you talking about on our local club website?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
still happens. So you always
Okay,
have
so
that option as well.
so is this true? If your club has the free host toast or whatever the heck it's called website, and you can click on that evaluation form, it will pop up. You can then save that and send it to the person who's evaluating you, and they will receive it as a fillable document. That's what I have found. Do you know if
That
that's
is
still the case?
absolutely correct. For
Okay.
those of us that are on whatever that toast is, it's free toast host.
Yeah, it's
Why
either
can't
free
we
toast
remember
toast.
this? We can always stick with that. And that is our other option. But I really, and I'm not going to go over this in detail today. It's something that I could do in the future, but I really like this functionality within Toastmasters.org, within our new base camp, where we can fill out that information about our speech and who the evaluator is, what the speech title will be, all of that. As we are going through our program in Basecamp. And we can fill in our evaluator and they will automatically get an email with that information. Now, for some folks, that's just going to take a while to get used to that. But if you don't have free toast, you may not have another option that is online and efficient in that way. So I'm hoping that folks will begin to explore it because I really think it's a great option now that we have.
Okay, it looks like we have a question from Daniel Wass.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello. Two questions actually. First, to go off on a tangent from what Sally just mentioned about the editable PDFs, because quite often when I download something from TMI, the PDF is locked. is there a way to get the evaluation resources downloaded so that they're editable?
What I was
Hello?
talking about was that they're fillable, not editable, but I'm only familiar with being able to open the evaluation forms through Free Toast Host. And
If
those, when you
if
send them, they are fillable. Sorry, Gemma, go ahead.
no, that's okay. If you are within the new base camp, Daniel, and you are looking for the evaluation form within base camp, you can download it and it is fillable.
So thank you so much. And then the second question I had was, well, it's something that pertains to me exactly. I have already completed presentation mastery, the pathway, but when I go to select a new pathway, I still have presentation mastery as an option that I can select. Is that a glitch, or if I select presentation mastery again, would that count towards level completions for club DCP goals?
So just to make sure I'm understanding, you're saying that you have not completed the current presentation mastery that you're working on, but you still see that
No,
as an option?
so back in 2022, I completed presentation mastery,
Right.
and it was not available for me as an option. Like when I went to select a second, third, or fourth pathway, it was not available for me until the new Basecamp update. After the Basecamp update, presentation mastery is available for me to select as a new pathway. At the same time, in my archives, the old presentation mastery is still there. So if I purchase the new presentation mastery and I complete it, do those level completions count towards DCP goals? Or is that just a glitch in the website? That presentation mastery is
Well,
available as an option for me to buy.
you should be able to select presentation mastery again. You can redo a path once you've completed it.
For
So-
level, oh, okay, I did not know that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, is that it, Daniel?
Yep, thank you so
Okay,
much.
you can take your hand down. Dee Marie, you have a question.
Yes, thank you. Gemma, I wanted to ask if I'm seeking a second DTM. I have completed several paths and pathways. Do I need to do an additional pathway, or do I get credit for the ones that I've already done?
I just saw your question in the chat, and I don't have the answer to that one. Does anybody else? Sally,
So
do
she,
you know?
so she
Um,
wants to know if oh, I'm sorry, Linda, do you just know off the top?
Well, I guess my question to you, Dee Marie, are you trying to use the same paths for two different DTMs? Because you can't do that. If you've got different, like if you did dynamic leadership and persuasive communications for your first DTM, you cannot use those for the second two, or your second DTM.
Yeah,
You
that would
must
make
do an
sense.
additional two paths. If you've done two more, three more, whatever, that are not the same path, then yes, you can use them, but you can't use the same paths for two different DTMs.
Okay,
But
you
if she
answered
does
my
the path
question.
over again, if she does the path over again, then she
Yeah,
can use it. Yeah.
right.
I think I've completed like 4 or 5, so I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Linda.
Yep.
All right. Tyree, you have a question.
Yes, Gemma, this was an excellent presentation. I really want to know, and anybody else here, what's the best way to share this information at the club level? Should we take this and ask to take pieces of this and make it part of our presentations or our speeches at the club level? Or what do
You
you suggest how we share this information?
Well, you can use bits and pieces of this presentation, but I'm also happy to visit clubs. So if you would like
You're
me
just
to come
one
to your club, I
person.
will.
yeah,
Gemma, I don't want to wear you out. You can come to my clubs and then rest after that.
so Tyree, this recording is going to be posted on our website, and then you can clip out her presentation and play it at a club meeting, or you, as she said, she's happy to visit clubs, or maybe you want to have a group meeting with a number of clubs and invite her to come in to give this presentation. You can do that. You could set this up as a training and invite her to come and invite the whole district to come. You can do, there's a lot of ways to get this information out to our members.
Okay, maybe
And
this could be an area council meeting.
yeah,
You could
or
do
it's something
that.
it's something, Sally, too, that we can put up on the calendar for everyone in District 57 to attend.
Exactly. Exactly.
So Gemma and I will work on that.
Thank you. That's the only thing I really want. Just how does this get disseminated strategically for everybody?
Yes, and this is just a very small part of Base Camp Manager, and it's only from that perspective. So there's a lot more out there. Just mentioning that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you will be hearing more from Linda and Gemma on this for the coming couple of months.
Yes.
So thank you for asking that question. Lisa, you have a question.
Yes, it's wonderful seeing everyone. It's been too long. And I sent an email to Gemma Gerlando, who's our webmaster, Hans, who is doing our channel, and one more, Lee, who does our newsletter. And I asked that this be shared everywhere. So, Gemma, you should see that email in your email box already. And please connect with the other 3 people and let's get this to happen in time for it to be shared. I also think that it's a really good idea, Hans, for you to separate this particular presentation and the Q&A and have that link be there in the newsletter so that when the article is shared by Gemma, that people can connect to this piece alone and not have to watch the entire DECM meeting. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that well, I'm not sure about this, so I'll just keep my mouth closed, but I'm going to look into my thought for later. Any other questions? Right, seeing none. Thank you, Gemma, so much for a very thorough presentation on the topic that we selected for you to present on. This was fabulous, and I look forward to future presentations and trainings coming up.
Thanks, Sally.
I would like to now move on and introduce our district finance manager, Winnie Ma, who has a few words of wisdom for all of us and a few words of information. Take it away, Winnie.
Thank you. Thank you, Sally. Next slide, please. Good morning, everyone. Finally, we have the first quarter P&L, profit and loss statement to share with everyone, and we submit our first quarter certification and narrative to Toastmasters International a few days ago. I would like to share with you and let you know some of the variance, between the actual and the budget, especially like recognition. The other revenue, about 1,700, was booked in the recognition, which will be recast back into the other revenue next quarter. And also under the educational expenses, there's no educational expenses, but we budget for the district bucks, that have not been used. So that's why you see a large variance on that. And the actual expenses for marketing, that is only $1.95. There are some expenses, that went into other coding that we will look into that and then work with the TI, see if we can recast it back into the outside marketing outside Toastmaster, that we want to have everybody, whatever that we budget, we use the same code that we budget. So that would help to match with the actual and the budget. And this actual speech contest, which was the last year's expenses, there's no budget for the speech contest. until February next year. And there are some food and meal expenses, like I said, that was should be recasted back to the admin expenses. Will work on that next quarter. And for some lodging expenses that will be booked in the second quarter, there is a large pieces for the other expenses, which should be for last year, but it was booked and have not been accrued, so that this year we absorb the expense. Next slide, please. Something that I would like to remind everybody related to district box reimbursement. There's no dues reimbursement from the club. And this quarter, I saw that there are a couple expense report sent to me and saying that due reimbursement. I encourage that mention to all the clubs and make sure that they are not doing that. And for the expense report, especially like the district box report, I would highly recommend that put down your club's name and then district box reimbursement. Otherwise, we would not know what it is for. And that will help ourselves, to approve the district box reimbursement much faster. And also one thing that we highly recommend that everybody have to use the account 7082 from the last DECM. I mentioned that to everybody already, but I want to re-emphasize that would help us to match between the actual expenses and the budget. And also the person or the club officer submit for the district box reimbursement. Please put down your name, your title, your email address on the comment section. So we will contact you related to the receipts or with the account coding. So you must submit the expense receipts that is readable. Otherwise, that we would not be able to process the expense report. The subtotal of the receipt must be less or equal to the district box balance. If your expense report is higher than the district box balance, we will return the report to you. And then that will take a little longer time for us to process for the district box reimbursement. So with all these steps, I hope that you can take a picture of the slide or mention that to all the clubs and let them follow the steps for the district box reimbursement. One thing reminds you, the last day to submit the district box reimbursement would be May 31st. We want to ensure that all the expenses go back into the same fiscal year. So that would avoid any hassle for the next fiscal year. If you have any questions, send me an email and I will put my email address on the chat. Back to you, Sally.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is break time. We are actually going to take, instead of 10 minutes, we're going to take 8 minutes. We will reconvene at 10 o'clock straight up. Mercy, if you will stop.
There you go.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I would like to just take a moment to acknowledge our region advisor, Rose Curlin, who is with us for the rest of our meeting, or at least a little bit of it. Thank you, Rose. You are so supportive to our district. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and I know that those of us who have had conversations with you also appreciate your support.
Thank you.
All
I'm
right.
glad to be here.
Great. Our next presenter, I believe it's Hans, although I know that Lisa is on the line, but I'm going to introduce Hans because I know he just prepared some slides to share with us what's going on with public relations. And it's all yours, Hans. And that all of us who are not speaking, please mute, because otherwise little green boxes go flipping all over the screen and it can be a little distracting.
Well, thank you, Sally, and good morning, everyone. I've prepared slides number 30 through 35 in case those have not been updated in the deck yet, but I'll just proceed and go forward. Next slide, please. So to repeat on what Linda presented a few minutes ago, several awesome trainings are coming up, and I just wanted to remind everyone about this. Linda reminded you about the TLI that happened last weekend and the makeup sessions, but we also have contest-specific training. It is a 4-part session. The first 2 parts have already occurred. However, recordings are available on YouTube. So please keep track of the D57 YouTube channel. The next contest trainings will be on January 10th and February 3rd. Those are specific to the judging process. There's going to be a lot of changes this year because the contests are in person. Therefore, judging will have to go back to the old paper ballots and the old ways of collecting ballots and counting ballots. So there's a lot of changes to discuss. Please put that January 10th session on your personal calendar. It's going to be a great time. Next slide, please. And I mentioned contest. It's really important that everyone get their contests on the calendar, starting with, of course, area and division directors. Every year in the past, you've all put your contests on the calendars. That's the expectation. But this year, clubs can also put events on the calendar. There is a link on the website. I've put a screenshot on this slide here showing exactly where that link is. It's not very intuitive. You have to click the link saying event submission best practices, and there's an email address there. So regardless if you are a club, area, or division, you are eligible to put your contests on the calendar. I'd really encourage you to set some time and figure out what that date is going to be, whether it's January, February, or March, and get it posted so we can get a great turnout for you. Next slide, please. I'm really thrilled to announce an upcoming presentation by the world champion, Luisa Montalvo, next month on the 18th. She's going to lead us through a contest preparation presentation, teaching you what people look for in selecting the world champion. We're going to have speakers who will be evaluated, and she will help guide us to understand what exactly is used to determine the winner of a prestigious event like that. Please mark that on your calendar. It's going to be a great time. Next slide, please. There is a new club we're trying to charter, specifically targeted for anyone who is interested in art or creative processes. It happens on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. It's a remote club, and some of the past meeting themes are listed in that slide. The next one is coming up next Tuesday, and this is a great topic that a lot of you know, it's really relevant today because it's all about using artificial intelligence for content creation. The link to join and register is on the website, so really encourage you to check it out. This club has done a phenomenal job of finding topics for each week that are specific to art and design and all that kind of stuff. Next slide, please. As you know, the district has a monthly newsletter called The Dispatch. The last issue appeared in your email on December 2nd. We are looking for content ideas for the upcoming January issue, which should be released around the same time, like the first week of January. Please submit your ideas to Leave On, and this could be an article about things that you find important about Toastmasters, whether you hold a position and you have some announcements, or perhaps your own personal journey that you feel is important. We welcome all idea submissions. Thank you very much, and I believe that's it for me today.
Thank you so much for that important information, Hans. And thank you for just being available. I know that I know that Lisa is online and I appreciate her presence today. I know she's out being a world traveler and with all the work that she's been doing for this group, she deserves to be a world traveler. So thank you so much for being here today as well, Lisa. Next, I would like to introduce our Club Growth Director, Jeffrey Young. Jeff is going to be doing his monthly report, and then he's going to jump right in to doing a presentation that I will let him introduce when he gets there because I don't want to take away the surprise. So it's all for you, Jeff. Again, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself so that that little red box doesn't go flying around our screen. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sally. And I'm going to go a little bit off script here for a moment and tell you a story. One of the things about being club growth director is that most people think that it's about growing new clubs. But keeping in mind that my slogan for the year is making clubs better one member at a time, I want to talk about the fact that I've been accepting open house invitations left, right, and sideways. And if I missed yours, I want to apologize. It's just so many things to do and not enough time. And so I want to say that whenever I visit a new club or ones that I've been to before, I always try to make a effort to talk to any guests that are online with me in order to keep them excited about this club. Whenever they give me the minute or so to talk about the club, I always say, join this club. Most of the time I actually mean it because it's not about just showing up at the open house and saying, hi, I'm your club growth director. It's about getting to know the members of that club. It's seeing what they're doing. It's seeing what makes them unique. And I actually had the pleasure of being stealth invited to a not open house last month in order to step in and be an evaluator. And I got to meet some very cool people, both the people I was evaluating and otherwise, and I made new contacts. And when I ran an event for a different club, one of those people showed up to that meeting and said, hey, I've been trying to get around to more clubs. So I don't think that Monica is in the audience, but I want to give a shout out to her. And thank you for showing up at the top of the hill Toastmasters. There are clubs out there that need more members. And if you think of it as Beth said at TLI, what are you getting out of Toastmasters? If you're just happy being part of your own club, that's great. But you could do what I'm doing. Visit other clubs. It's free because all you need to do is just drop in. Your Toastmasters membership makes you a member of any other club. Well, not a member, but a guest in any other club that exists. And you just say, I'm a Toastmaster, and I'm checking out other clubs. And you never know. You might find a club that is interesting enough to you to join, like the Creatives Club. The goal here is I want you to think about getting outside your club, not next year. Well, okay, I guess next year because there's not much left this year, but think about expanding your horizons. I do it as part of my job. I did it as part of my job as division director and area director, and there's nothing stopping the rest of you from doing it. Mostly because we need area directors for next year too, and division directors, I think. That being said, next slide, please. First of all, I want to know that it's December, and that leaves 4 months until March 30th. Why this is important is that now is the time to start that membership recruitment drive. There are 10 clubs that are below 8 members, or as I call them, the unlucky 7. 2 clubs that have been below 8 for 2 periods and are about to get suspended, and 1 club that has 0 members in the system. I know that they were working on that particular club, but right now they need to get on the ball. And that doesn't count the 4 clubs that have definitely shut down. I've sent mail to each club that's on that unlucky 7 or less list, but that doesn't mean that the rest of you get to breathe easy either. I've been hearing rumors that World Headquarters is planning on upping the minimum number requirement of members from 8 to 12 in the next year or 2, so the magic number goes up. If you've been skating by on 8, it's definitely time to start looking for new members. And yes, don't worry, you're in good company. My home club is currently at 11. So I'm here with you too. For those of you who have clubs that are 20 or more members, I'd love it if you could share your secrets with me and what you do that keeps you above that high water mark. I'll be reaching out to you too, because we do better as a district when we work together. And if you have too many members, let me know that too, because there are some clubs that just need 1 or 2 transfer members to be a viable club, and the created club could use 10 experienced Toastmasters to become a full-fledged club. And you know what I'm going to say next? I have more clubs that need them than I have coaches. And the 6 coaches I have, I don't have good matches for times. I'm about to start sending out scouting parties to find coaches, but you can make it easier on me by letting me know that you might be interested in learning what coaching entails and whether you'd be a good fit and whether you'd like to visit another club like I just asked for a few minutes ago. All right, that's my business spiel for the moment. Next slide, please. What I'm really here to talk to you about today is the open house kit. Pallavi Hedgi, Narendra Patel, and Pravina Rahman have been working on this for the past few months, and we've been doing beta tests with a few clubs, but I'm prepared to release it into the wild now for real, that I've got the feedback from the people who have beta tested, and I've incorporated most of that feedback already. It's done enough to be usable, and the clubs that took it for a test drive had great suggestions, but I'm still willing to keep improving it over the year. And while an open house kit won't solve all your problems for the clubs who need to get to 8, it should be a big tool in your toolbox. And I've offered my assistance directly to any clubs who need the extra help. Again, it's in your email box. What's the open house kit? If you haven't heard me talk about it for the past few DECMs, it's the starter kit for creating an open house for clubs who hate doing the work involved with doing them. For people who said they had no design skill, we have flyer templates. For people who can't plan, we have schedule generators and an agenda generator. And that's for people who don't like putting together agendas for a normal meeting as well. I use it sometimes when I'm a Toastmaster to just kind of make it easier on myself. And for people who think they can't find an outside speaker for their open house, we have a list. Again, we've talked to multiple clubs, and we're listening to your pain points as to why you don't like running open houses. Most of them are covered in this kit. But if you have other pain points that you want to see in here, I'm open for suggestions. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road, and let me share my screen. I'm going to show you the actual kit. Share. Please share. And then
You have to have Mercy stop her
I got it.
share.
Oh, I got
Okay.
it. Let's see. All right. When you download the open house kit, you will get a set of folders and this, in case you need the instructions, a README file that shows you exactly what's in all the folders. There is also the open house incentive qualifications in case you can't navigate through to the incentive tracker so you know what you're doing ahead of time. Again, we have 3 categories for open houses. The standard community one, which you all know and hopefully love. You need 3 guests, the flyer, the agenda. Again, that's what I'm doing in the open house kit. And a screenshot of proof that you had guests and the guest book. If you're a closed corporate club and you have trouble getting people from outside to speak at your club, you can choose to get some inside the company that is not part of your club as your outside speaker, or just get 4 guests instead of 3. And finally, if you are taking advantage of the workshops going through the guest speaker list that we have, as long as you give this guest speaker an evaluation, you only need 2 guests, not counting the speaker. Got it? Okay. And also, I will stop ever so often if you have questions or comments. Getting into folder number 1, the open house activities and timeline. As I just mentioned, here's the table of content. These are all the speakers who have volunteered themselves and their speech topics. So if you are not sure what you want your person to talk about, start with the list. And there are some great speakers on here. Again, these people have said, we will say yes if you ask us, as long as your schedule fits. At the top is Linda's and my email address. We don't have a system yet to hand out the email addresses automatically, but I'm hoping to work with Derek to work on that. But regardless of which, that cures your outside speaker problem. And also, nothing stops you from starting finding your own outside speaker as well. If you have a story to tell, we want to hear about it. I talked to a gentleman at Toastmasters TV who I'm going to see if he wants to talk about electronics and broadcasting, for example. Moving on. You have here a schedule generator that all you need to do is type in a date. I'm going to put in January 2nd, 2025. And this automatically tells you when you should be sending out your flyer, publishing your Eventbrite if you do that, and then everything you need to do all the way up to the day of the open house, and reminders of when to follow up for guests. Again, this is a guideline that you can follow. We have a different set of flavors of things. If you don't like any particular thing in here, there's multiple choices. Here's a different checklist for the open house task checklist if you don't like the automated form. You have a best practice timeline that has advice on what you want to do at any given point in time. Again, this was a committee group project, so everyone put in their ideas. And then if you need to sell your open house committee, there is a PowerPoint presentation that talks about the timeline and the cycle. City Speech has the idea that once you finish with the open house, start planning the next one. That's why this is a circle. If you get in the habit of running them every so often, then it gets easier the more you do it. And they also shuffle their people around for the presentations. You can run a maximum of 6 open houses in a year for credit. And as we all know, if you run 1 open house, you get credit for the first open house as double. So run 6 open houses, get credit for running 7. Got it? Cool. Questions so far? All right, we'll keep going. And one thing that helps is the best practice, so this is from Pravina, I believe, is that if you want to keep a list of your open house dignitaries in your folder for your open house kit, that's helpful because you think, did I remember to invite the trio? Now you have your checklist. Okay. Moving on. Folder number 2, the open house agenda. If you don't know what to say for an open house, here's your script. Basically, you can follow this all the way down, and it'll take you through the entire open house setup, talking about various roles so you don't forget anything. I've seen open houses where someone says, oh, I forgot to call a general evaluator. Or, wait, what order are we doing things in? Again, this is a starting point. It's a template. And whatever you do to modify it is up to you. You have a checklist for the day of the open house. Make sure you do everything that you need. You have an example agenda template if you want to take a look at a finished one, for example. This is a standard one that they use in City Speech. And then this is my pride and joy, if you will, because I've been hacking on this for months. This is an open house generator. And what you do with it, and I probably should make a separate copy of this, but I'm not going to play with this for a second. I'll put it back. All you need to do on the side is start by filling in the date of your open house. So let's put in December 19th. Change the time to 5 o'clock. And I'll put myself as the president. And what'll happen is on this slide, you'll see that these things start changing. So right now this time is 17 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Let me change this to a different time. I'll make it 7 o'clock. And I'll add Sergeant of Arms as Stelly. And I should probably put the club name in here. And every time we change it, everything changes on the slide, and all you need to do is just print it. And you have your agenda automatically for you. Don't forget to put your club website, when your next meeting is, and who do you contact. It's all in this set of fill-in forms. This also works for a 1.5 hour agenda with 2 speakers, a 1 hour workshop, and I'm going to add the tabs for 2 hour meetings as well. I just haven't finished that yet. If someone says, I have a 15-minute speech, change the time here, and that will change it. I'll just give him half an hour. And now the time here for the featured speech goes to half an hour. So this automatically updates the time for everything as you go. Questions? And yes, I can do a further demo with this with your officers and do bug hunting and troubleshooting. All right, moving on. I also have 2 versions now. I got the Excel version working really, really late last night because apparently if you download this in Google Sheets, it doesn't work in Excel. But this is working now. File number 3 is Open House email templates. All this is that if you hate writing emails, here is a set of templates. Just fill in the name and mail them out. Remember to fill in your club name. I got an email recently from somebody who forgot to change the club name. Fortunately, I knew who that club was. And there used to be more of these in here, but I cleaned it up, so there's only 1 file now. Folder number 4, the flyers. This is the other cool thing about this. For those people who do not like doing flyers, here are not 1, not 2, but 12 flyers that have different flyer designs. They were done in Canva, but these are downloadable and fixable and updatable in PowerPoint. We have tested them, they work. Remember, change the name of your club in here, change the guest speaker if you need to, if there's one there for it. And there's a QR code in here. There are instructions on how to, oops, not this folder. Instructions how to generate a QR code in here, which is pretty much click this link. Bear in mind that when you sign up for QR Code Creator, there is a free account you can do for about a couple of months, but afterwards, if you like using QR codes, you need to actually subscribe to their service. I found this out last week. Regardless of which, pick a slide type, build up the slide for your club, change everything in there. If you want a QR code, just put it in there. Do not use the QR code that's in there right now because it sends you to City Speech. If you don't want people showing up at City Speech meeting, you want them to show up to your meeting. But we've used this a couple of times now, and it seems to work pretty well. All right, and also, if you don't want to wade through the slides, this is just a quick list of what each of these things are. Finally, last thing is if you have trouble coming up with table topics, there's a whole pile of table topics ideas you can use for your table topics section. And that is the extent of the open house kit. I want to thank on the recording Pallavi Hedji, Karina Rahman, and Narendra Patel for all their work making this possible. I assigned this to a Tiger team from City Speech, and they delivered. And so, like I said, this could not have been done without you, and I thank you for your work. And that is my presentation. Yes.
Jeff, you have one question from Mari Clark.
Okay, what's the question?
She wants to know, is there a black and white flyer for printing without using colored ink and also still readable?
I will check into this. I haven't tried printing that in black and white, but let's find out. But yeah, I will, if not, I will definitely get them to come up with one because that's easy. We just need to add it. Thank you for your question. Again, this is feedback we have been looking for. But overall, this is the package, and I will be sending this out to Gerlando to put up on the website. Speaking of which, I just remembered something not related to this presentation. In January, we're going to be putting up a community question. And what that means is that this is a challenge to all the Toastmasters out there to reach out to other clubs with your ideas. Because the question for December would have been, what holiday decoration ideas do you have? And the idea here is that if you want to share your ideas with other clubs and answer the question, be part of the greater Toastmaster community, this is one of the ways. We're going to be doing this as a bulletin board setup, I believe, with curated threads. So if you want to know what the other clubs out there are doing, this is the way.
And Jeffrey, you have a question from Bill Halsey.
Let me look up for that. I do not see. Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't see it.
Good
Okay, Bill,
morning.
what
Yeah,
can I do
he's
for
got
you?
his hand up. I
Got
was
it.
just about to point him out.
Yes. Excuse me there, Sally. Good morning, Jeffrey. I just want to tell you, you've done an outstanding job with this. I just got to give you really props that you've done an outstanding job for the district. I've been in Toastmasters for years, and this is a long time coming for this type of a kit that's just easy to use. And I really like your agenda, which is slick. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
I ran on this as one of my campaign promises, and delivering took a little longer than I wanted, but I feel good about this now.
Great job.
Yes, indeed. This is fabulous. Thank you, Jeff, and your team. Fabulous job. And it really points to what we all say about working together and, we can make things happen. Before we share our deck again, I'm going to take a couple of screenshots. If you don't want your faces shown, you can just turn off your camera.
You
But
had one
I
more
kind of like to.
question. You had one more question from Priya.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
didn't see that. Oh, I'm
Priya, what you
sorry.
got?
So can you put the link to where to download the open house kit?
I will.
Thank you.
I tried last night to see if the folder would work, but I can't share the entire folder. It just lets you comment on it. And I tried testing making a copy of it. And one of the people that I sent it to as a zip file said that it wouldn't open for her. So
Okay.
I'm probably gonna make a separate copy of the folder and make a link for that, but also make it available as a zip file as well. So
Yeah, and one suggestion, make it a tiny URL.
yes,
So make it
yes,
easy.
definitely that.
Thank you.
Okay, give me just a moment. And I think, oh my God, yeah, I've got you. I've got you, everybody. Thank you so much. Can we share our slides again, please, Mercy? Okay, next slide, please. We did it. Next slide, please. We have now just an open forum for questions and answers. Does anybody have questions about anything? And then we'll have another presentation that follows. So what's up in your lives, folks? And do you have any questions? You need to raise your virtual hand so that I can spot you at the top of our list here. Or comments or experiences, anything, a lesson learned, anything you'd like to share. Yes, Janet Voss, you have a comment or a question.
I think my pressing question is, how was your daughter's wedding reception?
My daughter was totally in charge. It was fabulous. She is the most amazing person I've ever known. And she put together her wedding and her reception and directed traffic and had it all together. It was really fun. The downside was that not on the reception, but a couple of weeks later, the same day she called her landlord to say we're moving, that night their house caught on fire. So it was, yeah, could anything else happen? But luckily it was caught before it went too far, and lots of foam and everything all over the house. But she's living in a hotel. But other than that, it's been great. I got to get her to join Toastmasters because she's got at least 5 or 6 speeches right there. Thank you for asking. Any other questions, comments, lessons learned? Yes, Jeff.
So I want to touch on something that basically I did for the collective and coaching. And that is, if you don't want to run out of a house, run an event. And some of you saw that in the digest last week. And while we didn't have a huge turnout for it, I had a lot of fun running the workshop for 2020 Vision that I did. And if you have ideas for special events for your club, the newsletter is out there for a reason. And they'll happily signal boost your club event if that's another way to get people in. And if you just happen to have enough people show up, use the generator. Pretend it's an open house. Oh, wait, I shouldn't say that out loud. Anyway, regardless of which, make something an event means there's no pressure to make it an open house. And I just ran it just for the club, and then I opened it up to other members and other guests. And we had people show up. We had people volunteer to show up. And it's something that you can do for your club. Because sometimes it's just a matter of remembering that we were all strangers once in Toastmasters. And inviting other Toastmasters is safe. Inviting other Toastmasters friends is less safe, but still cool. Because you have to start somewhere. There's no harm in saying, hey, would you like to come and show up for our next event? It sounds different than a meeting. It sounds less daunting than an open house. So there's the happy middle. Try that and tell me how it works.
All right, thank you. And I must remind you, Jeff, that to get credit for an open house, you must have advertised for it. Jan, do you have another question, or is your hand just still up? Want to check?
I actually had a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
When we were discussing the area directors reports, and I just wanted to say, because we did not know until we got in there working with it, if the club is suspended before you're getting ready to do their area director report, they will not show up on the drop-down list for that area director. They cannot file a report for them.
Well,
we did not know that.
Yeah, I thought that was true, but the one that we got dinged for was a suspended club, so I'm going to need to follow up on that. Thank you.
I just double checked on that.
Yeah. Okay, Tyree, you have a question? Oh, pardon. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I said that club might have gotten grandfathered in with an open report.
Oh, all right. Tyree,
yes,
you have a comment or question?
Quick question. I was just wondering on the website or someplace, is there a listing of clubs by their format, indicating if they're hybrid, in person, or online? Because I'm talking to a lot of people. I'm getting interested as we move to the new year, saying, hey, here's your New Year's resolution. You want to become a better public speaker. And a lot of them want to do it in person.
Okay, I'm not sure if we have that up online or not. I'll check on it and I'll make it happen.
Thank you. That would really be helpful, because I think, for me at least, I'm finding more people saying that they're going to get out of their comfort zone if they can do it in person.
Okay, and we do have clubs that run hybrid meetings, and we have clubs, I believe, that are only in person. So we'll try to pull that together if it's not already there, and if it is, I'll get the information out. We'll put it in the newsletter.
And Tyree, if you want to send some of the people to me, I can also hook them up as well and like do the legwork for that, which because I'm doing it anyway for the people who are popping in on the meetup.
Jeff, is there a hidden fee if I do that?
No, absolutely not. They don't pay me to do this. I'm just doing it because I am invested in finding clubs for people.
All right, thank you.
And Tyree, it's not a hidden cost. It's very blatant. Jeffrey will tell you what his fee is.
The answer is nothing.
Trio rackets.
Right.
And
yes,
schools has a report like that.
Oh, cool.
Okay, we'll find that, and if it's not already somewhere listed, we'll make it be on our website, because that's an important thing. I think we have on the website a list of all the clubs. I just don't know if their meeting type is there. So we'll check that out.
Yeah, and we updated the list fairly recently, so it's current, and it pulls from the Find a Club thing. So I'm looking right now. Give me a few minutes.
All right. Report back. Is there anybody else that has a question or comment in the meantime? Just raise your hand, your virtual hand. You'll come up to the top of the list so we can see you. Okay, well, if not, we will move right along. We're going to end up having some time at the end. The next section of the meeting is we're going to talk a little bit about our new OTMA. You may have heard it referred to as OATM, which is what it has always been. And we have decided to change up the name. Okay, I decided to change up the name, I admit it. Instead of the old name, it is now Outstanding Toastmasters Award. That flows better for me in terms of knowing what we're talking about. We have the form posted on the website. We're going to be going over what some of the items are and talking about how to fill that form out. And let's see, let me just plug myself back in here.
Just real quick, while she's doing that, the answer is that the information is not in the club list thing there, so it's gonna have to be doing it by hand. That's okay. I'm happy to do that.
All right, go back a slide, please, Mercy. And I think we're going to take a break from the slide deck, and Linda's going to share her screen. And if any of you would like to pull out a piece of paper and jot down things that you have done so far this year as she's going through some of the items that will help you earn this Outstanding Toastmaster Award at the end of the year, this is a chance to kind of pull it together for yourselves.
Can you all see this? No?
I can see it.
Okay, because it's interesting. I can't see it.
I can see it.
Good. All right. So the OTMA 2425, the instructions are pretty clear. Make a copy of the form so that in case you lose it or whatever, there is still, I mean, you can save it and add to it and that kind of thing. Enter the number of times you performed each activity. And that's from our calendar year, July 1st to June 30th. And that will automatically determine the number of points that you have. So it is a smart form in that respect. When you're ready to apply, ask your club president or your VPE to initial electronically each of the activities, and then have them submit it to me using the subject line. Please write this down, OTMA submission. That way it will pop out for me, and I can then approve it and go from there. And it needs to be done by July 15th of this year, next year, sorry. Couple of key notes. One is you have to do at least 2 separate components in each of the 5 categories, and there are 5 categories which we'll go swiftly through. You must provide specific explanation for each item. In other words, it's not enough to just say, I did 2 paths, level 1s. You need to tell us which paths you did. And then note number 3 is if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and help you move on from there. And again, the subject line, OTMA questions. That way it doesn't get lost in my email. So there are 5 sections, and Sally, please feel free to pop in whenever. Communication, thank you. Communications is the first one. There are 800 points minimum that you must achieve. And as you can see, communications includes your pathways, levels 1 through 5, speaking outside the club and giving a pathway speech, speaking outside of your club at a club outside of D57. So you may go to District 101 and give a presentation. Please let us know where you went and how it went. Speaking outside your club as a member of the Speakers Bureau. I'm going to give a little boost here for the Speakers Bureau. It is a great way to enhance your professional speaking career. And I have to be honest with you, we are including the Speakers Bureau in our table of content to help our people who are in the Speakers Bureau to get out there and to be seen. And then, of course, if you speak at a district event like a TLI, the district conference, which is coming up on May 17th, you get credit for those as well. Sally, anything to add?
I wanted to point out and raise my little flag. One of the items here is speaking as a guest speaker outside of Toastmasters. I actually have a gig coming up in April that's going to be paid that you're going to be seeing in the newsletter looking for an in-person speaker. So just so you know.
Awesome. Thank you, Sally. Section number 2 is on leadership. Again, 500 points minimum. And
800.
I'm sorry, 800. Did I say 500? 800. So things being on a high performance leadership guidance committee or an action committee, completing a high performance leadership project, serving on a DTM action committee, or even completing your DTM this year. That could be a goal that you have, and we'd love to see that. Serve as a club officer, a district officer for a full term, appointed September 1st. For a half a year, appointed January 1st. So if we have any 6-month terms that are coming up in January, you can still get 150 points.
And one thing I'm sorry to interrupt that we should have put on here is yes, it's a half-year term, but if it started in September and went to January, that counts too as a half-year term.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Serve as a division or area director for the full term. Assistant club officers or assistant division directors, assistant area directors for a full term, again from September. This is also a great way. I mean, at this point, it's too late, but it would be a great way to have a shadow, someone who is going to take that role next year, and they get a full year to sort of sit and watch what you do and participate. Something to think about for next year. Attending officer training, max 2, 1 in the first training period, 1 in the second. I know many of you, like when I was training, we went to every one of them. You only get credit for 2. Contest chair, that's coming up for your club. Chief judge for your club. Toastmasters for your club, all for the club contest, which should be coming up in the January-February timeframe. Attend an area division or the DECM council meeting. Sally, can they get 12 of those?
Well, it looks like it, doesn't it?
It does. I like it. I like it. So you could get 600 points right there. Serve as a district director. So all of our wonderful district directors, you get 600 points. Serve as a chair on a district director team. Serve as the program quality director. Serve on my team. And by the way, I still have roles in the conference to play with. Serve as club growth director and on his team. Public relations and that team. Finance manager. And of course, the audit committee chair gets points as well. So lots of different options for leadership to get that 800 points. Any questions? And I can't see Sally, so if there are questions.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, and you need to raise your virtual hand for me to be able to see if there are questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything to add? Oh, go ahead.
No, you're doing well, and I don't have anything else. One thing. Yeah, I say I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
We've showed some examples here. Don't be shy. I know that when I chair anything, I make up new jobs to help me out. So just because it's not listed here doesn't mean you won't get credit for it. So if you're doing something to help on a committee on my team, Linda's team, Jeff's team, Lisa's team, and it's not specifically listed, doesn't mean that it doesn't count. We were just trying to give examples of things to think about here.
Right. And you know, we could have gone on, we could have written for days of the things that you possibly could do. And then, of course, as Sally said, we're thinking of new options all the time, new jobs, new roles, new leadership that you can get involved with.
Absolutely.
So training, coordinate a speechcraft or a youth leadership program, assist with a session. Both of those get great points. Coordinate a success or leadership or successful communications program. Notice that the max is only 100 points, so you can do 2 of those. Present a program from the successful club, the better speakers, or leadership excellence series. All those are going back a ways into our history. And that, again, you can do 2 to get a maximum of 100 points there. Do a training at TLI. I know Tiffany is looking for trainers and speakers for our next TLI, which will be in May. I don't have a date on that yet. I don't think. Tiffany, do I have a date on this? Is Tiffany there?
Yes, it's some June 7th, I believe it was.
June, okay. Yeah, June 7th.
Okay.
So
and one clarification on that, because I know that because we're doing things a little bit differently the last several years, there's been some confusion. That TLI is officer training for next year, for next year's officers. So that is not an opportunity for clubs to meet their 7 of 8 officers trained for this year. That's an opportunity to get those folks trained early so that they can hit the ground running on July 1st.
Right. Presenting a training like we had today. Gemma did a wonderful training on pathways, so she'd get credit for that here in the OTMA. Yes, there we go. Wow. You can also approach me and say, hey, I'd like to do a master class in something. Technically, our contest judges or contest committee would get points for conducting a training for the district in contests. So all sorts of ways of getting credit for training all of us in the district. Pathways training for your club. Again, Gemma's doing that, but that doesn't preclude other people from taking a page off of what Gemma's done and create a training for your club or for a group of clubs. Mentor a member for a minimum of 6 months. Mentor new members to serve as a Toastmaster or general evaluator in your club, and complete the mentoring pathways program for 250 points. I feel like Jeopardy. Okay, any questions about training? All right, membership, minimum 700 points.
All right, quick question on training.
Yes.
One of the things that you mentioned that we kind of glossed over is that there's a maximum of 100 points for training, if we're going to offer training, and that's 1 in the spring and 1 in the winter. So for people who go to multiple ones, for whatever reason, double dipping, what have you, you can't rack up points that way anymore. There's a maximum now.
Right. And that's intended for people that are going to those trainings to be trained, okay, not for the trainers. And those people that are being trained, because in this district, we give credit for all of the offices you hold when you go to just one training for one of them. Some districts require you to go to training for every office you hold, and we don't do that. So that's why we have that limitation on it.
I admit I've used that a little bit myself in previous years, but I'm still going anyway because I like helping out.
Absolutely, and what you can do is train, and you get credit.
Right.
You get
credit you won't get. Yeah, exactly, Linda. When you go to these and do training, you're not getting credit for attending the training. So this line, I'm pointing at it, you can't see me, is not where you get credit for going to a training session. If you're a trainer, you get credit for doing training.
Yeah, and it's clear. It's present a training at. So if you're doing the president's training, VPE, whatever, If you do all 4, like I used to do treasurer training, and I do 8 in a year. I counted all 8 of them.
Yeah, because she's doing 8 trainings, but if
Exactly.
she were being trained, that's different, and that's
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Membership. This helps us all. It helps the clubs especially, but it helps everyone to have a robust Toastmasters club, an area, a Toastmasters district division, by sponsoring members. Sponsoring a member, sharing a membership drive. When was the last time we did a membership drive in your club? I can't think of it when we've done one in my club, and I think that's a phenomenal idea. Doing follow-up communications with guests. It's not just the VPE, excuse me, the VPM who's doing this. Everyone in the club could do follow-up calls, follow-up emails, whatever with our guests, especially if you have a lot of them. A major role in an open house, that'd be the Toastmasters, a speaker, an evaluator, or a supporting role. Might be timer. Get a former member to return and start in pathways. Befriend a guest during the club meeting. That works exceedingly well, especially if you're doing an in-person meeting, is to guide them and let them know what's going on and how it happened. I mean, we could do it on Zoom as well, but it works really, really well in person. Get a current member to start pathways. In other words, select a path and give a speech. And then recognize members' accomplishments in the newsletter, on the website, or social media. And this is also part of the area visits and part of the MOT. Are you recognizing your members' accomplishments, or do you just let them slide by? I think this is really, really important. Somewhere a long time ago, I had a horse race up because we were looking at, how far could you go kind of thing. And it really motivated, it spurred people on to finish their path. Sorry about that. Next, anything on membership, Sally?
Well, it's not on membership. I'm going to hop back to training. There was a question about, and maybe we've overlooked it and need to add it, and that is credit for it during the training, the room monitors. I don't think we have a line for them unless there's a category that you were thinking of that they would be included in, because they're an important part of putting on training, certainly. And Maureen Filler asked about that on the chat.
And your tech hosts.
And the tech host. I knew there was another one. It wasn't coming up for me. So look for that to be added in training, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. As a support to the trainers.
Yeah, exactly. It would not be at the level of doing the training, but it's certainly an important piece.
Well, I can tell you.
Thank you for that question. I think you can look for that to be added.
Yeah, and I can be honest with you. I could not have done my treasurer training without Maureen Filler.
Thank you.
Making sure that everything else ran smoothly. And I think most of the trainers would say the same thing, is that without the monitors and the tech hosts, it would not run as smoothly.
Right. And I think this was an example of, because they do such a good job, we didn't think of them. That's
yeah.
And I have one other question on that. If you are an officer and you volunteer as either a trainer for whatever officer role, it may not be your own officer role, or you're a room monitor for one of those roles, does that mean that your club does not get credit for your office being trained?
No, you've always gotten credit. Yeah.
Yeah, you get credit for it.
But the way you were saying it earlier, it sounded like you didn't. And I keep getting volunteered for different things. I have yet to be to treasurer training other than being a room monitor.
Right. No, what I was trying to say, make the distinction of training versus being trained. I was making that distinction. Okay. But for officers, if they are doing the training, they get credit for officer training as well.
For training their office.
For being trained in their office, they get credit for that as well as for being a trainer. So yes, there's a double hit there for them. because they do get credit as if they're there to get credit as an officer being trained, they get credit. Now, if they happen to be an officer and they train in several different trainings, they only get the officer credit once each half year. Thank you for that question. Lindy, you have a question.
Yes, something unusual happened at the TLI where we had a trainer for the president role, and he had a lot of trouble with connecting. And the result was that I actually took over the training at some point. So can I get credit for being a trainer at TLI?
Why don't you talk to us offline?
Yes,
We're
okay.
we're aware of that situation, Lindy. So talk to us offline about it.
Thank you. Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to membership. No, we did membership. Going beyond your club, 700 points minimum. And these are the sort of, I'd say these are sort of the fun things. Planning a district event. We have several of those coming up. Being on a district committee for Sally, for myself, for Jeff, for Lisa. Being a club coach, club ambassador, a sponsor for a new club or a mentor for a new club. Chairing a conference committee. I'm looking for conference chairs. Attend the district this year, the district conference this year. It is going to be in person because we are doing our contests in person, but it is also virtual. So lots of different ways to attend. Join an advanced or specialty club. Join another Toastmasters club as a dual member, but not a specialty club. But there's another place for that. Maintain an active membership in multiple clubs for at least 12 months. Maintain an active membership in a specialty club for at least 12 months. Appear on Toastmasters Time TV. 300 points. Chair an area or division contest. Serve as a contest judge outside the club or as chief judge. Serve as the contest Toastmaster outside your club. Serve in a role at a kickoff meeting or a speech contest. Speech contest speaker, which would be for an evaluation contest. Is that correct? Or is this actually talking about a contestant? Or is this outside? I'm doing it in like.
I just got distracted. Which one are you on? I apologize.
Okay, speech contest speaker, outside club, area, or division.
That's if you're. Oh, I see what you're saying.
If you're a target speaker.
That's what I thought.
That's what this was directed. So we'll fix that language.
Speaker.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I've done that. That was fun.
Yeah. Edit the district newsletter or a monthly division area or club newsletter, working with Lee on that. Contribute an article or a video content about Toastmasters to a club, area, division, or district newsletter, website, or social media. And then last of all, to help Winnie and Mercy out, serve on the audit committee. Get 100 points helping her out with that. And let me tell you, with using Concur for a lot of our expenses, the audit is much easier to work through than it was when we were doing checks. And that's all I have. Yeah.
All right. Bill Halsey has a question.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to thank you, Linda and Sally, for continuing the momentum of the Club Ambassador program. And we started it several years ago, and I'm glad that we're still using it and finding it very helpful for the district.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bill. Can I stop sharing?
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for creating that program, Bill. The ambassador program supports, and I see some other hands, so I'll get you in just a moment. The Club Ambassador program supports a group of clubs that are in the middle. There can be clubs that have 20 members that are in trouble because they're not working the educational program. Or there can be clubs that are in trouble because although they work the educational program, they're not building their membership. And the club ambassadors are in place to help those clubs. I'm just sorry that Toastmasters International doesn't recognize them in the same way that they do club coaches, because they are equally important and vital to the sustainability of our clubs and our mission. All right. Dee Marie, you have a question?
Well, I just want to say thank you for renaming the OATM award. That is excellent. But I did have a question. The OATM award to me creates so much enthusiasm and passion for Toastmasters. It gets the person involved, and I think that's great. What about the OATM awards for 23, 24? I never received my award. Has something been done to work that out?
Yes, we're working it. I'm so sorry. It's one of those things that, well, I don't know what it is. It's because of the change going. I don't have an excuse. It's sitting there waiting to be done. They're all sitting in my basement. Not basement, downstairs. I have someone that's going to be doing labels for me. I have to find the list. I'm working on it. They're
So I'm
there. They'll
excited.
be sent out. I'm just so
Thank you.
sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay. I
I'm
have an
really.
OATM award and a Elite Triple Crown that has not been
Yeah,
mailed.
and they're there. I've got them. And you're not the only one. I fall on my sword with it. I'm really sorry.
Okay, thank you.
And I have some people that are going to help me mail them once I get to that stage. So it'll happen. Um, all right. So now what I would like to do, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this.
Oh, did we tell them how many points they have to have total?
No, that's where I'm gonna head right now if I can get it to work. So can you see this screen? So it's the same one, it's the same screen that uh, Linda just had up. But what I want to do is just kind of demonstrate how this form works. So for instance, I did a level 1. Oh, yeah, and there's the points for it. And then I did 2 level 2s because I'm working a couple of paths, and there's the points for it. And then I say which one it was. So this one was presentation mastery, and these were 2 other ones. But so you can see how it loads up the points. And now I've got 500 points in this particular category. I need 800. So maybe I did 1 here. And now I've got 800 points in that category. And so I walk down this form and I fill in the numbers. It automatically loads the points. And when I get to the very bottom, I have 1,000 points, but I need 3,700 points in order to um, meet the minimum for points. I need to have 2 items in each category, and I don't have it telling me that. So you'll have to be able to count to 2 in each category, but it does automatically load how many points you have, and then you can compare it to how many total points you need in order to qualify for this. And again, yep.
Oh, Shri asked a question about the link, and it's not up on the website yet, so we don't have a link.
Actually, it is.
It is.
It is
Okay.
up on the website. Yes, it
Never mind.
is. Yep, I know. I just got it up this past week, and I'm very excited for that. And
Do you have
I
the
don't
link?
have the link on my back pocket. But I will send it out. So let me just do this. Let me just do this. Um, where are we? Toastmasters, District 57. I hate that you see what goes on to my silly thing there. And then members, outstanding Toastmaster Award. So it was under members. And there's the outstanding Toastmaster Award. And hopefully it has a link.
To make a copy.
Make a copy. And there it is.
Sally, when I went to do it, I got something that said I was not authorized to access it and to send a request, and then it was denied.
Okay. So probably we'll fix that because we do not want that roadblock. And I know why it's happening. So we'll fix it. And basically what we need to do is put everybody's name who's a member of our district share that with everybody. And so we'll do that.
Actually, you can just
Thank you.
anyone with a link can view. That's better than trying to put everyone on the list.
So what is it, Jeff?
You want to change the link access to anyone with the link can be a viewer.
But they need to be able to input their data into it. So they can't
Yes,
be
but you
just
make
a
a copy of
viewer.
your own. You don't want to do that in the district copy. That's why it's
Oh,
set that
got
way.
it. Okay. Okay. Oh
That
yeah,
happened a
because
couple
you
years
see,
ago.
when I went in that way, look at what's there. So see, what I just put in is there when I went in through the website, and we don't want it to be there, right? We don't want our individual points to be there for other people to view.
And
So
Tiffany says to share and set everyone as a viewer.
Yes. Yes.
And yes,
and then they
That's
can
what can't do
copy it,
for you.
and then they can copy it, and then they'll have their own.
Correct.
Okay, got it. We'll do it. So thank you for bringing that up. Those are the kinds of little details that are not always very obvious to me. So thank you so much. But so this is the form. We're going to make a couple of changes to it today, and then we'll get it up so that everybody can open it. And of course, it's activity that you've been working on since July 1, and any activity that you complete between July 1 and June the 30th counts, and that needs to be submitted no later than July 15th so that we have time to review, tabulate, order awards, and have them available for our end of year party. So you can understand that when we do that end of year party, you want to be able to attend in person if you're local and pick up your awards, so you don't have to deal with what DeMarie's dealing with now and not having her awards sent out in a timely fashion. If we have lots of people attend in person, we'll have that many fewer awards that we need to mail. So,
and Sankar has his hand up, but he also asked a question. Can you rename the sheet to OATM? No, we can rename the sheet to OTMA.
it's OTMA, which is what it is. It's not OATM.
Individual.
OATM does not exist anymore. It's
No.
OATM no longer exists. It's
No,
OTMA.
The sheet name, if you see, it says OATM Individual 2022-23. So that you need to rename to whatever the new name, 2024, 24, 25. Thank you.
So where is it not named right?
The bottom,
The tab is
tab name. Yeah, sorry. No,
Oh,
tab
there
name.
it is. Good spot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm still not seeing it, but Jeff, as long as you see it, then I guess it's seen.
The
So that's
tab
good.
name. No,
Okay,
on
were
the
you there?
bottom. Yeah.
Okay, so right at the bottom, along the bottom of the thing, of this other window there, right there.
Oh, the tab name. Got it. Got it. Got it.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for spotting that. All right, that's all I have for this topic, if there are no other questions. So we are so early, but we are available for doing some division breakouts. So let me just get rid of my share.
Rooms are open.
All right.
So did you want to say anything about dismissing everyone who does not want to do the division breakouts?
Oh yeah, the meeting is adjourned. The official DECM meeting is adjourned. So the breakouts are open for division council meetings. Everyone else, have a great day.
And
We'll
have a
hang
great
out
holiday.
here and chat. Yep.
I can't find where to go to the breakout rooms.
Go down to more.